remove your cap and join me in saluting the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce the members of the commission seated here tonight. To my left is Ron Sienna, a regular member. To his left is Barry Ponder, a regular member. And to his left is Paul Marino, an alternate member. To my right is Janet Crane, a recording secretary, and seated at the administrative table is David Perkins, our town planner. And finally, my name is Robert Nowak. I'm the chairman for the commission tonight. Since Paul's an alternate member and we have a full commission, half a commission, 4 members out of 5, Paul's going to be a regular member and have all voting rights accordingly. Next item on the agenda is to consider the approval of minutes from November 21st, 2024. Ask the members to take a look at the agenda, the minutes from last meeting, and let me know if you have any corrections, adjustments, or modifications you'd like to make. And then when you're ready, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes when you're ready.
I make a motion, we approve the meeting minutes from November 21st, 2024.
We have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Motion by Barry, second by Ron. for the approval of minutes from November 21st, 2024. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, possible action for application 2024-25, zoning map amendment 435 and 465 Foxon Road. We had this a continuation from last meeting. We had the public notice already read into the record. For those who haven't participated in a public hearing before, I just want to read a little summary of how the meeting is going to be conducted. Purpose of the meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony of those in support of and in opposition to the application before the commission. Public hearing will be open. Testimony will be heard in the following order: applicant explaining their application, project, proposal. Staff and commission asking questions or comments on the application. General public have an opportunity to speak in support of and in opposition to the application in the form of statements or questions. Applicant have an opportunity to respond to the public comment and provide closing statements as necessary. Staff and commission will again have an opportunity to comment. When all sides have spoken, public hearing will be closed. No further public discussion will be had. Will be entertained. After the public hearing is closed, the commission will vote on the application. The rules regarding the public testimony: when addressing the commission, please speak into the microphone, state your name and address. All comments should be addressed to the commission, not the applicant. Be relevant to the application. It should not be of a personal nature. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Once your time has expired, please be respectful of the commission and other members of the public who want to speak. Please avoid repetitive comments. Once your public hearing is concluded, out of respect for this body, we would kindly ask that the audience take their discussions about the results outside the chamber so we may continue our business. With that being said, the applicant, you want to describe your project, what you got going on, Jim?
Sure. Good evening, Jim Preddy, Criscolo Engineering, 420 East Main Street in Branford, representing John Castle and Vitro and John Duty. The properties that we're looking for a zone change for are 435 and 465 Foxon Road. 435 is John Castle Vitro's business, contractor's business, and obviously 465 is Duty's Bar. Been there many years. They're both commercial uses in existing residential zone. They're looking to change both properties to B1, which would provide commercial opportunities on Route 80. Most specifically, mixed-use opportunities, which is in line with the POCD of the town and in line with the, I know some of the other efforts by other town groups to create more commercial opportunities in North Branford. We feel that because of the location on Route 80, it makes the most sense. There's, especially with certain commercial uses, the traffic on Route 80 is beneficial. It provides also what appears, if you look at the zone, I printed the zoning map in color and brought it as well. And if you look at over the years, it looks like efforts have been made to try to create a corridor along Route 80 with commercial properties, and this would kind of be a piece linking some other sections. So, you know, there's not a lot of detail involved in this kind of a thing. We're looking for, again, the zone change to B1 to provide commercial opportunities that we don't know exactly what yet. You know, unless we have the opportunity to go to a commercial zone, we don't know exactly what the best, highest value and use of the property is. But you know, public utilities are available and that sort of thing here, so it seems to make sense. Again, the POCD specifically mentions mixed use zoning on Route 80, and we're, I believe, following right into that the intent of the POCD.
Okay. Anything else, Jim?
That's really it.
Okay. Dave, you want to comment on the proposal so far?
Maybe I'll wait.
Okay. Commission members, questions, comments? Jim, have you had any discussions with any third-party potential buyers for the property yet? Is the property for sale?
Not at this time.
Okay.
No, both owners, Mr. Castelvitro doesn't have any intentions to change his property at this point. I mean, it's more about bringing it into conformance. And Mr. Duty is, weighing options, and unless this becomes a reality, those options become very limited.
Jim, is the property worth more as a commercial property than a residential property?
Yes. Yes, the Duty property is a little over 4 acres, so.
Okay. Is there sewer and water hookup?
There is,
Back?
yes, there is actually, and that's correct.
So at this point, we don't really know what's going to go on with the property, correct?
Correct. It appears that, similar to some other things that have just happened in Branford, mixed use where you would have, some limited commercial space on first floor and some residential above, seems to be the best scenario for development. A lot of towns doing those kind of things. But until you had until you have a specific plan to know what fits there, you know what I mean? It wouldn't make any sense to spend all the time vetting it out unless we know we can actually do a commercial project there.
Right. Jim, would the intent be the whole property? Would you segment it off?
No, the entire property.
Okay. All right. Questions? Save you to the end, Dave? Save you to the end?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Yes.
Okay, with that being said, I'll open up the public hearing to public comment for those in support of the project.
With Potter Northford, first of all, Facebook's not a real good source of information, so I'll ignore that. I don't know how many people out here know the process. I've been to enough of your meetings to know this is only a zone change. It has nothing to do with anything else. If they try to do anything with the property, guess what happens? Another public hearing, all sorts of forms have to be in, surveys, the engineer has to submit plans. This is not about the future of this land. It's about a rezoning change. So also, I don't know how many people are informed of that. And I'd also like to see the 3-minute time limit exposed. We've had bad situations with that in the past. I'm entirely in favor of this family. They've donated that land for no fee, for all sorts of fundraisings, for all sorts of groups that supports our town. This family has history, they've got lineage, and they've got good intentions. Facebook makes me sick. I'm sick of reading all the crap on it, and you can quote me on that. If you knew this family, you know their integrity, you know the business, and they just will do what's right for the town. It'll never be any other way. So to oppose a business change, you're going to maybe decrease the amount of taxes. If you don't approve this, you'll get less taxes for the town. So again, I think it's a great thing. I think they deserve it. They've given so much to this town, and to deny them this is the wrong thing to do. Because if there's anything that's going to happen, it's got to come back before you. Everything, as you well know. And I've sat it through enough of these meetings. You guys usually do make right decisions with a little coaxing, and I'd like to see that happen. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else like to come and speak in support of it? Support of the zone change?
Hi, my name is Lucia Wojcik, and I live in Ashby Park Association. My husband and I have been living here for 28 years. We've just been notified that our house is being reassessed for an increase of $93,225. That's almost really the increase in the assessment is almost about half of what we paid for the house 28 years ago. In respect to Mr. Duty, we understand that you are retiring. We've appreciated his involvement in the community. We've all patronized his restaurant, and we're very pleased. But changing the zoning here, to me, it just seems like we're opening a can of worms. Needless to say, we've thought to be a residential community, and first and foremost, getting out of Cinnamon Ridge into Route 80 can be pretty hazardous. We have a stop sign, that's about it. But there's no light, and changing the zoning laws, to me, is really an avenue wherein you're making a smorgasbord neighborhood out of our neighborhood. We always thought it to be a very nice residential area, and now you're bringing business on one side, residents on the other. To me, it really has been, not to be disrespectful to the Duty and the Duty family, but I think it really isn't fair to the residents in our area. The parking getting out into Route 80 would be hazardous. And to me, with our taxes going up, and even though the mill rate's going down, to me, how low can our mill rate go when you have an increase in the assessment of my home, $93,000? It'd have to be a zero mill rate to compensate. And if I will get you 10, our taxes will definitely be going up. And I really think it's an injustice to the people in our area. And we certainly didn't come to live in our area to be it by-zoned, where one side is business. You're increasing traffic to our area. And to me, it just seems unfair. Thank you.
Can I have your last name again, please?
Pardon me?
Last name?
Wojcik, W-O-J-C-I-K.
Thank you.
I'm Mike Duhamel from 264 Village Street. Not only are we residents of the town for many years, but we're also in a business in town. And the thing that I want to talk about is the business corridors in town and how important businesses are to the town. Talk about wanting to lower taxes. Well, businesses lower taxes. Bringing in more houses does not lower taxes. You got a piece of property here that very easily could be affordable housing put on that property because it's a residential zone. It's going to make our taxes go up even more. As an owner of a business, we have corridors on Route 17, corridors on Route 80, corridors on 139. They're all conducive to business is in our town. And the infrastructure is already there. So I am for the zone change. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Would anyone like to speak in favor of, in support of?
Yes. Once again, I'd like to inform the audience, Mrs. Wojcik, or whatever her name is, she was already against it. She's not listening to what you're saying. This is for people in favor. So the first comment, I was in favor. The second comment was a negative comment. So we got to watch what you allow to happen here. Already you've allowed her to speak against when you're asking for those in favor. So please re-inform the crowd what they're supposed to do.
So one more time, those in support of, thank you, Cliff.
I'm fairly new to the town. My name is David Galati. I live in Ashley Park, and I'm not here to speak at this time. I just want the gentleman who spoke twice and criticized one of my neighbors to identify himself, which he did not do when he stood up, if you listen to what the commission asked, sir. Thank you.
I see we're going to play a game here tonight, identifying myself as Cliff Potter from Northford for the second time. If we're going to play this game, I'm going to watch you like a hawk, because I am in favor of what's trying to happen, and the people are not listening to you. go from there.
Thank you, Cliff, I understand.
Cliff Potter, Northford.
Thank you.
Cliff Potter, Northford.
I think we all got it, Cliff. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your, I appreciate your effort.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
let's maintain some decorum. We're not here to play games. This is a serious matter.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Is this thing on? Okay, let's maintain some decorum. You know, I don't want this to turn into one of those matches, you know, where I'm trying to top you kind of stuff. Let's be professional and put facts out. I thoroughly enjoyed reading the stuff on Facebook about all the craziness that was going to go into Duty's property. Like Cliff said correctly, we're only here for a zone change. The word he didn't use was site plan. If we approve this or we disapprove it, let's say we approve it, then they have to come back with a site plan where they say what they're going to do. At that point, we discuss traffic, sidewalks, and landscaping. This is not that, we're not at that point. This is just a zone change. Can he do it? Yes or no? Can he do what he's been doing for 100 years? That's what we're here to discuss. Let's not play games. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. So one more time, anybody else who wants to come up and speak, name and address in favor of the project? Anyone else?
Alex DiFrancesco, 43 Elgar Road. Essentially, Cliff and Ron said everything I would have to say. This is a zone change. Ron said it perfectly. Everything else, all the details, if anything transpires in the future, nothing might not happen in the future to this piece of property. That would be another hearing, potentially. The biggest aspect with this is you have a family business in town that's looking to do something with their piece of property. And there's been a lot of hearsay, what might occur online, discussion 5 years ago, 10 years ago, who cares? What the Dewey family has done in town for this community, and events, their business, from when it was an inn to a pub to whatever, it's residential. Currently, right now, it's not conforming for its use. They're trying to come into being conforming with the policies that came about in the 70s. If you look at the Mill Pond Gathering, that was not conforming for so many years because of when it came about. It went out of existence and then somehow came about. So for them trying to come into being conforming, who knows what it could be, but that's another hearing. The other option is a lot of people want to keep it open land. We're a farming community, we're a family community. We have a lot of farmland, a lot of open land. And there's been a lot of developments throughout the whole town, both sides of town, whether it's on the corridors for business development or in residential zones. The opportunity cost for those people and families that have that land is the neighborhoods that want to keep it open lands. And this is a thought to potentially propose to them, is if you want to keep that open space, what's the opportunity cost to the people that own that land? You want to keep it open land, you want to keep it farmland, but then you don't want to help the families or the businesses that might have that to keep it status quo. Whether it might be taxes, anything else, so be it. So looking at both sides, both angles of everything, I think Ron said it best. This is simply a zone change tonight. This isn't anything in the future. discussion or anything. I know there's a lot of people here that there's a lot of unknown. I get that completely. I've been on both sides of this microphone and being where these guys have been. And at this point in time, it's simply, all right, you have two parcels trying to conform. And in lines with the plans of conservation development, as on the corridor, this makes the most sense. The applicants, if they have more information, present what could it be, would be useful, and maybe a little more securing to the general public as to what could this be. Something similar just occurred on the northward side of town, and they had a game plan from almost day one. Here you don't have that. So you have unknown variables, and sometimes you have the fear of the unknown. And that's, unfortunately, it happens like that. But for what we're presented today, this makes sense. Now down the road, if anything does transpire and comes about with one of these parcels, as I think the applicant said, one wants to keep going
Alex,
and
you
doing
wrap it
their
up,
business. Yes, I will in a second. One wants to keep going their status quo in their business. The other one might be something else. And honestly, at this point, I think there's no reason to not move forward with this. So, thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of the project? Speak in favor of the project? One last time. Anyone else want to speak in favor of it? Okay, move on to those who want to speak against the project. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Jim Kohlberg. I'm at 25 Edward Road. I actually have a couple of questions. Not really sure if I'm for or against at this point. Are the businesses that are currently operating there in jeopardy of losing their status to be able to operate as businesses? Grandfathering in?
No.
Okay. If the properties were to change hands,
No.
they would not lose their ability to operate as they are currently do?
Correct.
Okay, so the proposed change then is about the future.
The use runs with the land.
Okay, not with the owners. Okay, that's what I thought, just wanted to make sure. So then this really is about the future, and I think that's what at least myself and some of my neighbors have a concern about. The term that was used last month was a fallacy about a hotel going in over there. Well, we do have concerns about that. Maybe that's way out in left field. That's fine. But it's already very difficult to take a left-hand turn onto Route 80 as it is. There are small children, and people don't do a great job of driving down Route 80. That's just the way it is. See a lot of kids on bikes, a lot of people walking. You know, there's not even really a good place to be able to walk from my house over there, because I love the food at Duty's, and I appreciate everything that the Duty family has done. And I don't think there'd be many people that would say anything other than that. But this is not about that. This is about what could happen in the future. So that's basically all I have to say.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Anyone else like speaking against the project? The zone change?
Yeah, I want to say Gary Sabino, Ashley Park Drive. It's very easy for people that don't live near here to say it's okay to do it. Everybody, these people are saying, though, that are for it, keep saying that it's only a zone change. To me, that's a big foot in the door, because we know what's going to happen down the road. That's a big change to change the zone. So we're against it on Ashley Park. You got Tilcon trucks coming down here, and like they said, there's all kinds of craziness. I almost get rear-ended going into Ashley Park. People don't know how to slow down. It's a disaster out there now, and we don't need anything else over there. That's what I got to say. Thank you.
Good evening. Nicole Riccitelli, 1 Tumblebrook Drive. So I would say that I have been in the neighborhood abutting Duty's property for the last 20 years. 15 years was on Arthur Road, and the last 5 have been on Tumblebrook Drive. Currently, my property, the backyard, abuts to a thin line of trees that ultimately abuts to the backyard and Duty's. There are wetlands, there is a gas line that runs through that property. So, you know, as everybody's kind of said, we appreciate Duty's. They're a great business and the family has done a lot. Nobody is disputing that and nobody wants to harm the Duty's. However, there are many residential neighborhoods on all sides of Duty's, including across the street at Ashley Park. There are 3 public schools, all within 1/2 a mile in each distance. So Jerome Harrison is 4/10 of a mile, and BIS is exactly 1/2 a mile from Duty's. The traffic is horrendous in that neighborhood. They have been operating as a business in a residential area for many years. So obviously this plan is to resell the property at some point, and that is very concerning. That is opening the door to the next phase in a residential area. So we also have a lot of, you know, crime and traffic and people breaking into cars, and so what is that doing into that area? And so I understand that, you know, the family is saying it's not a motel. Fine. I still am concerned about the brick and mortars and bringing in large retailers and what hides behind those properties, you know. So when I purchased my home for around $500,000, I did not purchase my home with a Target in the backyard or a motel or anything else that may come with a very large commercial property, considering that we're talking about consolidating 2 properties. So although I understand the Duty's have a lot to gain by selling their property as a commercial zone, I beg the question, what does that do to my property value? What does that do to all the neighbors' properties values who immediately abut that area? I don't believe that bringing a business is going to lower my taxes. I think that's a fallacy. My taxes will never go down, period, ever. So I appreciate how economics works, but it's never going to trickle down to me. And I do not want my property value to be jeopardized. That's my nest egg. That's my investment.
You wrap it up, please, Nicole?
Yep.
Thank you.
So I just beg you to please consider the residents in the immediate area and all of the impact that will have on our many families. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else like to speak against the project, the zone change? Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Judy Papalizio on 115 Doral Farm Road. And I have to agree with Nicole with the whole Riccitelli, with everything she has to said. I've been living in this community for over 25 years, my husband and I, and we chose it specifically because of the type of community. Obviously now things are different. It was said that the Duty family, they're not in any harm of the business being, you know, what they're currently doing to change if we keep it as a residential zone. To what we've all been saying is it's just a zone change. And again, I have to agree that, yeah, that's going to start something that's going to just spiral, and it's not going to be what the residents of North Branford are going to want. It's more for them, and I think we don't have a plan. We don't know why they want to, other than to be conforming, to change it to a commercial zone. So why not wait until we have a plan if somebody wants to do some development, so that we all are more feeling a little better about it? Because you're right, the Facebook stuff and all of this stuff, we're all nervous. Who knows what's going to happen? But we open up a door and then we all know that the crack opens and it's like water gets in and it starts seeping, and then before we know it, meetings get pushed away. Oh, they're going to be doing this. Well, there's one meeting, then there's another meeting, and then people miss it. And then without everybody knowing, we're going to have some kind of whatever business there. So I really think you should consider just right now for the time being, let's keep it as status quo. And if there is a plan to do some development, then let's bring it back when there is a plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Would anyone else like to speak?
Do you have to be a town resident to speak?
Name and address, you're fine.
Okay. Karen Smith from Whalers Point in East Haven. I grew up here in North Branford, and I'm actually here to speak for a resident because she's sick tonight. Ann Richardson, 15 Arthur Road. She has a lot of the same concerns that the last two girls just talked about. She's very concerned about this abutting right up to her backyard. And she also asked that she would like to see some kind of a plan or some kind of an idea before a decision is made, because she's not totally against it. She would just like to know what it's going to do to her property. She's as old as I am, so she's in retirement, and she's a little bit worried about that. That house is one of the few things she has. So she's worried about what it's going to do to her property. Obviously, they can make a little bit more money by selling commercial, but then it brings her property down, and that's a problem. So she would very much like to see you guys wait until there is some kind of a plan. And what was the other thing she said? She was also a little concerned about the wetlands in the back, too. So I'm just filling in for her.
Did a good job, Karen.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak against the zone change?
Good evening. My name is Denise Crow. I'm from 23 Ashley Park Drive and part of the Ashley Park Association. I moved to North Branford 26 years ago. And when we were looking for our house here in North Branford, a colleague of mine was also looking for a house. And he looked in the same neighborhood and looked at some of the properties that were available. And he did not purchase an Ashley Park because of the duty property, because he was afraid that someday this would come up. And I called the town hall at that point in time and verified that it was a residential property, along with everything else around here was residential. So I told him he was crazy at the time. It's going to stay that way. It's been that way forever. The business is operating there on a residential property. What's wrong with you? I bought my home and he did not. And now today I have to tell him he was right. Because now we're talking about a zoning change within all residential communities around it. Behind it, our Ashley Park, on each side of it, there's a residential driveway that runs between the two properties with a house right behind it. We're talking about a residence, residential. The property is being used as a business. I understand it. The total interiors is also a business. It was a business prior to that. But they're small businesses. They're not mixed use. They're not a strip mall. We have plenty of those on Route 80. Abandoned. Things can go in there all the time, and they're not. They're empty. So now we're talking about putting another mixed use, maybe storefronts, maybe some residential. I just don't think it fits in there. So after 26 years of being here, choosing that property with all residents around it, the schools, like the other people have said, I do not believe this is the right thing to do for this area of town. Thank you.
Thanks.
Once again, I'm Dave Galati on Ashley Park Drive. I apologize, Cliff, if I was rude before. Fear of the unknown is a real fact of what is going on at this meeting tonight, whether it's Facebook, whether it's residents that live in the neighborhood or across the street. My question might help clarify what's going on in our minds. If we go from residential 40 to B1 business, what types of business, because we don't have a plan, We have to ask what types of businesses potentially would fit within a B1 business district. I don't know those answers. We've heard mixed development, but we haven't really heard much of anything else. And I think it would be naive for us to think that those two pieces of land don't have some prospects already looking at them for them to bring it forward at this time. So it wasn't stated in their application, which if there was something in the works, it had to be stated in their application. So I take them at their word that there's nothing coming at this point. What would B1 bring to us, or what could it potentially bring to us?
There's a list of uses on the website.
I couldn't find it. I looked all day today.
Okay.
I couldn't find that particular zoning designation of B1. I saw a lot of other things.
So there is this chart of uses that's about 12 pages long.
Could you highlight a few just so we have some ideas? And because housing and mixed use might sound very nice.
So a single family house would not be allowed in the business zone.
Okay.
Okay, but a mixed, and not multiple dwelling units either, but you could have a mixed use where there'd be business on the first
Retail
floor.
and correct.
And businesses above.
Well, let me ask specifically. I mean, Facebook is crazy, and I didn't even come here to talk about that, but would a hotel be zoned for that type of business?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yes.
Would a CVS be zoned for that kind of a property?
Yes.
Okay. Just to give us an idea.
So it's retail.
It's retail. And then the meetings after that would be to develop sidewalks, lighting, street lights. That's what you're talking about, the future meetings, to make it more beneficial to the neighborhoods as far as stipulations to make it conform. But we don't know any of that without a plan of what they're thinking of doing. And my concern is the unknown. Once it's out of our hands, which B1 does, it takes it out of our hands, it puts us into the hands of the unknown. And as good and great as Duties is, and they are, they've done wonderful things. I'm amazed at this town and how nice and wonderful the businesses in this town are. Once it's out of our hands or out of planning and zoning's regulations, if they get pressed and can't sell it to that nice mixed property that we're talking, and he wants to, let's say, get out, why wouldn't he take a bigger development if that's his only option? I mean, it would be nice to say something nice would come along. We don't know that. So fear of the unknown is very pressing, I think, to all of us at this time. And until we have a plan or a commitment or an idea, I know we have an architect who's very well known in the area, a great builder. If he were to present something that he was thinking of doing, it might even help. But we don't have anything. Once it's out of our hand and it's rezoned, the sky's the limit.
Anyone else like to speak in against the zone change? Anything new to offer other than you're against?
I just moved into this town 3 years ago.
Hold on. Name, address, please.
My name's Ken Reagan, 24 Sunset Road.
Thanks, Ken.
I grew up in Bridgeport, lived in Bridgeport my whole life. I wanted to get out, come into a community like this. These people been here forever. I think you guys should hold off until they actually tell us what they want to put there. I moved here for a community. This is a great community. And the traffic is horrible. When you build this, you got a volunteer fire department. What are you going to do about that? You're going to have a paid fire department. There's a lot to think about. I would just hold off until we know what they want to put in that property. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, Ken. Anyone else? Anyone else like to speak?
I have one question.
Name, address?
Gary Semino, Ashley Park. When we noticed, is there some kind of a certain description of when you put a sign up saying there's going to be a zoning change? The sign they put up was this big. You can't even read it. Isn't there any kind of zoning that should take care of that?
That's our standard size.
This big?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. So you can drive by, you don't even know what it's even there. Okay.
Thanks, Gary. Go ahead.
Charles Appel, 2 Sunset Road. I live right on the corner of Sunset and Route 80, 3 buildings from the Duty restaurant. I have a question. Have they considered parceling off the land they use for the flea markets and stuff, and parceling that off and leaving that as residential and only changing the restaurant to be in compliance with how it's presently being used?
Okay.
I mean, I live right next door. I've been here 40 years. I didn't know that Duty's was in a residential zone. I would have no objection to having the Duty's restaurant be redesignated as commercial, but I do have a problem with the building next to it and having all that open land be turned into something commercial.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. Anyone else? Anyone else like to speak against the zone change? Anyone else? Hearing none, then I'll ask Jim if he wants to come up and have some additional comments.
Jim Preddy again. Just I guess a few comments. There are, adjacent wetland issues. There's a gas line there. There's actually a sewer line.
We can't hear you.
There are adjacent wetlands. There's a gas line. Somebody mentioned existing landscaping. All that stuff would be limiting factors to a site development here. There's no plan at this point to join the 2 properties. Somebody mentioned there is a driveway in between them, so that would kind of make that difficult. And parting out Duties from the rest of that site hasn't been talked about either. To my knowledge, at this point, there are no buyers. This exercise was to be able to provide an opportunity to see what could be developed there, akin to you would get a variance first on a project before you spent all kinds of time and money on a project, because if the variance wouldn't go through, the project either would change or go away. This is the same thing. I don't know why anyone would spend tens of thousands of dollars on surveys and wetland scientists and landscape architects and everything else if the opportunity to make it commercial is not known. So again, this was really to try to develop, opportunities. And it's been said multiple times here tonight that any sort of development would have to come back to the Wetland Commission, this commission, probably multiple times. Most likely all public hearings too. Most of the uses are special use permits, so almost everything would need to be a public hearing. Some of the other things, some people mentioned crime and traffic. I mean, that's everything on Route 80 would have that same, the same, effects. And as far as the taxes, I know I live in Wallingford. We just got revaled. I don't even want to tell you what mine went up, but because I've done work in the last couple of years. There's been a lot of talk. I was involved in the new PD. There's been talks ever since the town hall moved into this building about building another town hall, because the thought is that this property is more valuable as a commercial piece than a municipal piece. So there's been, for years, there's been talks about trying to get commercial properties going, on Route 80. We're just trying to be part of that. That's really, I guess, all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Dave, you want to add your comments now?
I would just make two comments. One, that when you do have a business zone next to a residential zone, there is a buffer built into the site plan's requirements so that there's actually more space between a residential zone and a business zone than there would be between a residential zone next to a residential zone. So
There's a setback, right, Dave?
there's a buffer, a planting buffer zone where nothing can be built, which I believe is 50 feet, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that has to be filled with greenery and fences and to protect the residential area.
Okay.
As part of the zone change itself, as a commission, you guys have wide latitude to do what you want. You're acting in a legislative role. You're not following any rules other than the plan of conservation and development. So you need to find that this change is consistent with the plan of conservation and development. If you don't want to do anything and you don't want to change the zone, then actually, you don't need to state anything on the record. You just say, it is what it is, and we're leaving it that way. So I think that's all I wanted to give you a heads up as to what your role is here and the setback.
Dave, can you explain for those in the audience who don't know what a plan of conservation and development is and how it came about?
Every 10 years, we create a new plan of conservation and development, which basically is a bunch of policy statements as to how the Planning and Zoning Commission and the town itself thinks that the town should be developed over the next 10 years. We're about 5 years into the plan. And relative to this property, the POCD does say that the area of Route 80 west of Town Hall may be appropriate for multifamily housing in a mixed-use setting. It also states that the Route 80 corridor has the highest traffic volumes in town, making it an ideal location for commercial development.
Okay.
Can you ask questions?
You guys, hold on a second. Do you have any comments, questions? Questions?
No, here, I'll listen to him.
Yeah, sure. Come on up.
Absolutely.
Against? Oh,
Go up there?
come back up, Karen.
Sure. Karen Smith again, East Haven, Whalers Point. It was mentioned a couple of times about open land, and I'm trying to figure out from what's been said tonight what it exactly is that the people that own this property want. If it's a matter of they want to be able to sell the land for more, has it even been offered to open land type conservation groups where maybe they would offer the same amount of money for buying the land as such as a land trust, or just at least putting it out there? I know of several properties in other towns where the notice went out that they were looking for buyers to keep it open land. The land trust stepped up. A few other people that really just wanted to keep it open land stepped up and said they would offer the same as what was offered for the land if it was commercial. So it's another thing to consider, maybe putting that out there in an announcement, to see who might step up. not me, I don't have it in my pockets. I'd love to use it as open land, but it's just something to think about, because once open land is gone, it's gone. You know, so just something to think about. Thank you.
Hey, Karen, was that from Ann or you?
I'm sorry?
Was that from you or Ann?
That was from Annie, but with a little suggestion from me.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just for regarding the potential for something to be developed there when it comes to a site plan, just on the sidebar, the development of the lot shall be of a character as to harmonize with the neighborhood to accomplish the transition into character between areas of unlike areas to protect property values and to preserve and enhance the appearance and beauty of the community is what we would be tasked with, whoever and whatever decides to take over this piece of property. Planning and zoning recognizes the need for economic development in North Branford as referred to in the plan of conservation and development with a lot of agencies. The Economic Development Commission has also met and discussed multiple properties along Route 80 as well. I think we all have a desire for growth and modernization in some form or another in town. Some don't, and resist change in any form, regardless of the current condition or reality that we're faced with. Some believe any change in town will detract from the very character that makes our town special. Open spaces are vital, part of our town identity, and make it unique. But on the same token, we have to recognize personal property rights. Can't pick and choose when freedom is convenient. We want to wait, but that's not fair to the property owner. I don't think you guys would want anybody to tell you to wait on what you want to do at your piece of property. I don't think that's appropriate. But in any event, I'll ask my commission members again if they have any questions or comments regarding that. The zone change. Go ahead. We're talking about zone change.
We're talking about zone change.
Yeah.
The traffic on Route 80 is horrendous. Wrong commission. Those are state roads. Complaints about the traffic on Route 80 should go to the state. Our public works can't put up a stop sign on Route 80. They can't put a speed bump. So I agree with you 100%. The traffic is horrendous, but this is the wrong forum. The zoning change about buying the land for the land trust, wrong forum. Our budget is what, $100?
$100. Yep. And we just got a raise too.
Yes, and we just got a raise.
Yep. Double zero.
Yeah. Our salary doubled. We get paid zero. So aside from that, we're all volunteers. We're all taxpayers. Although we're on the commission, I hear a lot of what you're saying and you're going off on tangents. Like I said in the beginning, the question is going from R40 to B1. Can they do it? Yes or no? Your concerns are site plans. What's it, the Algonquin gas line goes through the property?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Between them.
There's setbacks from that. I never walked in the back of the swamp there, so I don't know if there's a swamp or not, but there's setbacks off of inland wetlands. So although it's 4 acres, I don't know how much is usable, but before you invest a lot of money in your property, you have to know if you can get something back from it. If the surveyors say that, you'll end up with 1/2 an acre and that's not a building lot, you're dead in the water. So again, this is just a question about going from an R40 to a B1. At that point, then you have another public hearing. That's me.
Thank you, Ron. So as far as the B1 goes, right, we were asking about what could be possibly in that particular zone. There's many different possibilities that could be there. Laundromat, bowling alley, theater, storage facility, painting facility, lumber yard, motor vehicles, bowling alleys, indoor theater, undertaker, cemetery, veteran hospital, restaurant, indoor restaurant, hotels, motels, golf driving range, public utilities, schools, flea markets. The list goes on. That's the vast majority of them. So with that being said, does anyone else have anything, other comments? Go ahead, Dave. Come to the microphone.
Jim Colbert again, 25 Edward Road. Has a gas line ever been moved?
I'm not gonna move that one.
Has a gas line ever been moved?
I don't think it's going to be moved. It's hypothetical.
Right, the question is a hypothetical. Has one ever been moved?
I don't know.
Okay, can they be moved?
Probably.
If they can be put in, they can be moved.
Not jet line.
So we have some kind of study that says that that line cannot be moved?
I have no idea. It's hypothetical.
Right,
Again,
it's-
we're talking about a zone change, not moving the gas main.
That's right. And if, regardless, if someone comes in and says you only have a half an acre, it's already then a business, zoned for a business once the change is made. So regardless of whether or not you can put anything there, I think the whole situation would be better if it was just tabled until someone had a plan. You know, if they want to have something that shows whether or not the wetlands can be dealt with, the gas line can be dealt with, that says what that parcel of land could be doing, then we would know something. Right now, we know nothing about what could be put there. We just know a lot of things could be put there. And I really don't think that it's an impossibility to get past those situations. Unless you're going to show me that it is an impossibility, it's open for anything to go there. Thank you.
Okay, Jim.
Mr. Chairman, I kind of think you're out of line reading what could be done. Again, tonight is about a zone change. You've read them a list of things that can be put there. That's up to them to figure out. When it comes time for the next public hearing, they have to do their homework. I feel you're adding a little fuel to the wrong kind of fire. It's only a zone change tonight. Let's keep what we're supposed to be doing. Again, I agree, these residents have rights. There's more procedures. And if they doubt the procedures, they're doubting you guys. They're doubting what you can do. When the next public hearing comes, you guys have power. But to suggest what can go on that's up to them to figure out. If they're that worried, they should have done their homework before they came tonight. Let's get on the meat of the subject, the zone change. And let's stay on that, on the zone change. Don't put,
We don't want the zone change.
obviously.
That's the whole point.
See,
All right. Whoa. Hey, take it easy, all right? Thank you.
that's why I would like to see you control the meeting a little bit, not give them more ideas to go against something that hasn't even happened yet. So again, I think it has to be tightened up. I think you have to go, close the public hearing, and make a decision.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Cliff.
Behind closed doors again, huh?
Thank you, Cliff. So the role as a chairman, since I'm sitting up here, right, is to control the meeting and be as transparent as possible on everything so everyone understands what's the possibility thereof. Right? In addition, not only to the audience, but the also commission members seated up here as well. So it's a dual purpose in what I bring up and what I discuss. But that's just me. Okay? You have your opinion, I have mine. Cliff, unless it's something new, we want to move on, right?
I just want to apologize. Okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you, Cliff. Commission members, have anything else? Have some comment for the record?
Michael Crow from Ashley Park Drive. I'd just like to point out that the Planning and Zoning Commission obviously made this residential property at some point in time. For some reason, they're trying to say that the corridor of Route 80 should potentially be commercial in the planning. But this area between Jerome Harrison and the high school is residential. And it has been for years. And it should remain residential. It isn't time to make it commercial between the two schools. There are areas that are commercial beyond Jerome Harrison towards East Haven, and there are areas that are commercial beyond the high school towards Guilford. This area isn't, and it shouldn't be.
Mike? Look at the applicant one more time if you want to rebut or closing statement, Jim. You're good? Mr. Planner, do you have any other question, comments?
No, I think you can probably close the public hearing and you can deliberate.
Okay. Gentlemen, you all set? For any more comment on the public?
Everybody's good?
All right, then I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second to close the hearing for now.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. 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 Motion carries 4-0. The public hearing is closed. So deliberation on the zone change. How does the members feel about it? You understand the POCD, how that works?
Yeah.
All right, that was explained pretty thoroughly. Duties is a business already operating in a non-conforming piece of property, right? I mean, we want to try to make it into conforming. That piece of property is appropriate for business, though the residents don't think it should be. So I'm going to ask what you guys feel about it.
You know, in the past couple of years, have we denied any properties wanting to zone change due to public input?
Can you speak up?
I think it was more, you want to bring the microphone around?
Yeah.
You want to repeat that?
The question was, have we denied any properties in the past couple of years since the POCD that we denied a zone change from residential to B1 from public input?
Not since I've been sitting here, and I've been here 2 years.
Well, we had the Totoket Road application, which was from residential to industrial, 88 Totoket Road last year.
Yeah, that's the industrial side, yes. But I'm saying
We
the
had-
R40 to
Well, the guy pulled that
B1.
one. The guy pulled that one in. It was the plate.
We had the one at the end of Totoket Road in Forest by the river that we did from residential to business.
We did grant that.
We did grant that.
I think the idea was try to make it from non-conforming to conforming by switching it to a business zone, because it was a business. In order to make it conforming, we'd have to make it residential. He'd have to he's limited to what he could do on that piece of property, right? There was a restaurant there before, he can only put a restaurant back. It left the property owner no opportunity to make a change to his property without going for a zone change. So
There have been a number of variances granted to duties over the years to expand the business, expand the parking lot. The other business is a historical reuse of the residential structure. And so it actually is a conforming use under the historic reuse special permit.
So what's the advantages and disadvantages of switching the zone change?
I think the biggest concern is the unknown, and it's unknown on both sides.
Okay.
That's the biggest. I don't think they're really concerned of it's going to turn into a business. I'm sure they're aware that it's gonna eventually, because nothing stays the same, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I don't think you guys or anybody's worried about the change, because everything's gonna change, there's nothing you can do about it. But it's what they're gonna change it to. So if you do make a change, could you make a change with a stipulation of something has to be presented to change it? Or is it just a straight change, yes or no?
I believe it's a straight change, Dave. What do you think? Right?
Is it just a straight change, yes or no, or could it be a change, with stipulation of what is? So
No.
this way here, the unknown is taken out of the question.
No, you can't take the unknown out. You could create a new zone that would limit the number of uses and apply that new zone to that area.
So you could move forward with approval or disapproval, but approval with a stipulation or just disapproval 100%.
It's either yay or nay.
Either yay or nay.
Right. Then with that restriction on the zone, then you pigeonhole the property owner to only allow for that particular business opportunity, so it
Right.
limits his potential sale of his property. Right now it's R40, the entire North Branford is R40, so that's 1 acre lots, that's 4 houses on that piece of property, maybe 3.
If you're lucky with the pipe and all that stuff.
Right, with the gas and the whole 9 yards, right. Right, now across the street used to be a golf course, golf driving range, right? And that was
Ashley
also
Park.
Ashley Park used to be a driving range, right? And he sold from the business, which he probably was non-conforming at the time, because it's R40. And he built all those houses in there on half-acre lots, not 1 acre lots. The zone was never changed from R40 to R20. So somehow along the way, that got changed, either through our process or somewhere else, but that whole section is R40, but yet they're all half-acre lots.
And
Right.
and so are the other lots on Arthur Road.
If not half or smaller.
Correct. And those were done as part of an 830G application.
Okay, there you go.
Didn't those houses go in prior to 1970? So the smaller lots are.
Yeah, the Doral Farms.
Yeah.
Doral Farms.
is Doral Farms is the 830G. So basically, I'll conclude with this. The request from a R40 to a B1 is consistent with the historical use of the property as an office and residential use. Consistent with the plan of conservation development, as David stated, that we all subscribe to across the entire town of North Branford, not just this community. As Jim had stated, it is appropriate on page 71 of our POCD to more appropriate multifamily housing and mixed use on Route 80. Another section in there, Route 80 corridor has the highest traffic volume in town. It's ideal for commercial development. As you had stated, the traffic's not going to stop. We're a pass-through town whether we like it or not. And again, our regs are trying to make non-conforming properties conforming. This is one way to make that happen. So, any other questions or comments?
This is definitely a bang your head on the table type of situation, because I hear what the residents are saying, and then I think we also have a fiduciary position for the entire town. Then on the same token, there's a safety issue, the traffic on Route 80, and that Algonquin pipeline that goes through there, that's a 36-inch gas pipe.
Pretty big.
That's in between the two schools. What would, God forbid something happened, if that thing goes, we're going to have the North Branford Grand Canyon. So it's safer not to have houses in that area. I'm just thinking out loud, so it's, feel free to jump in and, correct me with my thinking.
So do you think that it would be an appropriate use for business in that section of Route 80, as it stands right now?
As it stands right now, yes, I think the change, it is being used.
As a business?
As a business. For 100 years, has been getting away with paying less taxes because it's residential. Now, speaking, as a taxpayer, if he becomes a B1, his taxes go up, more so than that letter we just got.
True.
So it would be cheaper for the duties to do nothing, and it's more to the advantage of the town for them to be a B1. So it's
right. As a testimony says that the taxes are never going to go down. You're right. They're never going to go down. It's always a slight increase. Slight increase, right? It's the amount of increase that we're trying to limit.
Down. Yes. By
allowing something to happen on that property. Right.
But I also think that to throw a lot of money in and not be able to, make it a commercial property.
Right.
Is wrong also, so.
Right. So you're taxed based on the building on the lot. Taxed at the
Yes.
use of the land and the building on the lot, regardless of the zone.
In a lot of the questions, we have regulations on buffering and from property lines, from the pipeline, from.
Okay.
That being said, I still don't have an answer for myself.
So on a pass, it opens the door. On a denial, it doesn't really keep that door locked shut. If someone was to purchase the property, they could always come in front of the board and say, hey, even though it's residential, we're looking to do X, Y, and Z. Can we get a variance, a waiver, or even change them? That door is still open.
But he's coming in under the residential zone, not as.
Coming in under residential.
That's right.
But you could still change it if you wanted to, or propose to a change.
Right. And you're limiting that ability to develop that piece of property by keeping it R40.
So hypothetically, Bishop Orchard wants to open up a satellite apple pie stand. They could come in, propose it, and get it open, get it done, get a variance.
I don't think so.
Because it's residential.
It's residential, right? Unless it falls within the schedule for R40 for a farm stand.
Right.
Well, we have plenty of those. And again, why would you do that on 4 acres at just $400,000,
Right.
let's say, $500,000? You're gonna put a farm stand on it?
You're also limiting the man that owns the property
To what he can sell it to.
to sell his
Or get
property
it to, yeah.
at a higher rate.
All right.
No question, Michael, you did a lot for this town.
What was that?
I just said no question that Michael Duty, the family, did a lot for this town.
Oh, absolutely.
They're-
Yeah, I agree. All right, so if we don't have any more comments, questions, I'll entertain a motion on approving the zone change from R40 to B1. You guys have the motion? Unless you have more comments, questions?
I don't have that, sorry.
Okay, one more time. I'll ask for a motion to approve the planning and zoning application 2024-25 from an R40 to B1. right.
No. Somebody has to say something, and I've been known to say something. The last time I locked horns, I was told that they were going to find me on the side of the road in my underwear, which you may think is funny, but I have pressed underwear now because in case I get hit by the bus, God forbid it happens. That was related to the gas company, the gas storage thing, which I haven't seen anything happen in years. So that being said, I'd like to make a motion to change the property from R40 to, I can read all of that, from R40 to B1 based on the plan for conservation and development. It falls right into the plan. It's on the busy street strip, and I think it would be advantageous to the town of North Branford to get it done.
We have a motion on the floor. We have a second.
Can I abstain?
Got to go through a second first, if not. Okay, hearing none, the motion fails. So, that's it. Next item on the agenda. Unless I'm missing something, Dave? Unless I'm missing something? Next item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
why don't we take a 5-minute break to
5-minute break? 5-minute break, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we'll recess for 5 minutes. All right, we're back in session. Take your seats, please. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is old business, application 2024-79 Branford Road, 830G. The public hearing was closed last meeting and we're in deliberation on this particular topic. I just wanted to bring into, again, a little educational for my commission members and those listening in the audience and watching what exactly an 830G is. It's Connecticut state law. Affordable housing land use appeals procedure was enacted to promote the development of low-cost housing with long-term affordability protections. 830G is appeals procedure that provides allowances to override local zoning denials of affordable housing proposals without just cause. 830G ensures the municipalities cannot deny an affordable housing proposal unless there is substantial, significant health or safety concerns associated with the proposal. The burden of proof for this concern is placed on the municipality. North Branford, much of the town, as households change and growth has been driven by small senior millennial households, which speaks to the demand for smaller housing units with minimum maintenance requirements, as well as unit types that appeal to young professional single persons and young families. In 2021, Department of Housing Appeals, North Branford subsidized housing inventory is currently at 2.15%. Outlined in the plan are the goals and strategies that I'm going to touch on later. The state has mandated that each town have 10% affordable housing. And you can't waive that unless your town meets it. So you cannot deny a 830G application until you hit the 10% threshold. This 830, the law allows individuals to develop properties without complying with zoning regulations if the municipality does not provide at least 10% of housing, like I just said, as affordable. Must be protect substantial public interest. Public interests clearly outweigh the need for affordable housing. And the third component is public interest cannot be protected by reasonable changes to the affordable housing development. That's kind of our summary from our affordable housing plan that we passed in 2022. Now, the applicant had put together a affordable housing plan. I just wanted to read some excerpts so you understand his liability towards us. So under section 5, entity responsible for administrative and compliance. The affordable plan will be administered by the applicant, who's the owner of the property. The applicant will be the entity with responsibility to ensure compliance with the plan and shall also be known as administrator. Under number 3, maintain minimum percentages in the set-aside development, which will be identified in writing to the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. And in event any assignment of the role of administrator or applicant, again, he'll provide written notice to us, to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Again, in number 6 of this plan, affirmative fair housing market plan, notices of initial availability of units shall be provided at a minimum by advertising at least 2 lines in newspaper, identified municipalities. Administrators shall also provide notices to the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission, Town of North Branford, Local Housing Authority, Board of Education. Another component here, no, not that. Now, enforcement. Upon notification or discovery of the reasonable belief of non-compliance with the affordable plan, the town of North Branford, acting through the Planning and Zoning Commission, shall retain all enforcement powers granted by the Connecticut State Law 8-12, which powers include but are not limited to the authority at any reasonable time to inspect the property and to examine the books and records of the administrator, determine compliance of affordable units with affordable housing regulations. The last one I wanted to make mention to to the commission was the deed restrictions, which is another component for affordable housing. It's a 40-year period of time. Violation of this affordable plan or the deed restrictions shall not result in forfeit of the title, but the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission shall otherwise retain all enforcement powers granted under Connecticut State Law 8-12, which I read before. So it's a pretty comprehensive plan. In reality, we really don't have much authority to deny the application in its entirety. It seems to be all in order from my perspective and the town planner. Dave, do you have anything you would like to add to it?
No, I think we talked about the history of the property the last time and why they're trying to do this, and it is creating another piece of affordable housing. So we'll go from, what did you say, 2.05 to 2.155.
All right, making progress. So with that being said, you guys have any questions, comments regarding it?
I'll make a motion to approve and move forward with application 2024-7.
Okay, we have a motion.
A second.
Motion by Paul, second by Barry, to approve 79 Branford Road, affordable housing application 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Well, we had.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We had.
What else?
You might as well read the motion. We
Read
have
the motion?
that in front of us, right? That refers to.
Read the motion. The whole thing. You want to read it, Paul?
No.
No.
I can read it. We move to approve planning and zoning application number 2024-24, request under Connecticut General Statute 830G to allow for the current 3 residential buildings to be lawfully occupied with 1 unit to be designated as affordable housing at 79 Branford Road, Assessor Map 2D, Lot 11, Zone R80, owner Andrew Erbolas, applicant Attorney Timothy Herbst, as contained in submitted application documents, including and shown on plans entitled Existing Conditions Map, prepared for A&R Building and Remodeling LLC, 79 Branford Road, North Branford, Connecticut, prepared by Thomas A. Stephen and Associates Incorporated, dated July 1, 2024, with the following standard conditions: 1C, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 13, and special conditions 21 and 22.
Do we need to read them?
Sure.
Want to
Just
read
the 21 and 22.
Okay. And the following special conditions: 21 is building 3 to be deed restricted for affordable housing to be rented for 60% of area median income. 22, gravel driveway compaction and width to be improved to the satisfaction of the fire marshal so that the apparatus can safely access unit 3.
Okay, now we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 4-0. All right, moving right along. New business item application 2024-28, 1332 Middletown Avenue, R80. Is the applicant here to discuss the plan, the project?
Good evening.
Hello.
Jesse Casano, representing the Town of North Branford Parks, Recreation, and Senior Center.
John Hollerbach, President of Creative Recreation, the contractor.
Okay. So, what are we doing?
We are
You want to talk into the microphone? Yes,
Yeah,
please, thank
of
you.
course. Apologies. The proposal before you is to put in a pavilion at the Stanley T. Williams Community Center. We currently operate a camp and a senior center out of that site. Unfortunately, we did have to remove some trees recently, providing no shade on the property at all. So as you can imagine, in the summertime, it is very, very hot, and there is no shade on the property for over 100 kids and our seniors. As you saw, we just went through a pandemic, so the need for outdoor areas for people to gather is even more necessary than ever. So the proposal before you is to add a pavilion to the property, along with appropriate sidewalks and parking. All of the plan was done through Nafis and Young engineering firm to meet ADA compliance, as well as the parking spots that are necessary. You should have the plan in your packet if you have any questions.
No lighting?
No lighting at this time.
Okay, so maybe later?
Cost, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What happened to the T-ball field?
The T-ball field is being moved behind the property onto its, I don't know if it's school property or our property, but we're putting a batting cage. We've already been in contact with Little League. It's not a full T-ball field. They'll have the fencing and it'll be a grass field, so we are not inhibiting any play.
There's plenty of room over there to put it behind it, right?
Correct.
Dave, you have any questions or comments?
Can you describe the building, what it looks like?
Sure, it's a pre-engineered steel building. There's a tongue and groove roof decking and a standing seam metal roof.
And I'll comment that the building itself has already gone through permanent project. They fully understand the scope of it and have made additional comments and recommendations regarding the structure.
Okay.
That have already been vetted.
So is it different than this?
No, the only thing that they've added is the standing seam and water and ice below the structure, but the structure itself has made no changes.
Green roof, green or brown roof?
I believe they're going with a shade of green to be in line with the existing structure. Building, I should say.
That's it.
And then it has a natural wood look to it?
It's going to be beige underneath, and then there'll be pine paneling underneath. That was the other thing they added, is ceiling to the pine. So again, it's been thoroughly reviewed by permanent project for those details.
I know the high school's got a green roof, the intermediate school.
Yeah.
Totoka Valley have a green roof?
Yeah.
Totoka Valley is a green roof, and you actually recently did the community center with a green roof as well.
That's it. We're green.
Right.
All green to go.
Green.
Green it is. Should have been purple. No, I'm only kidding.
Purple poles.
Or purple understand.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Make it purple?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Oh, condition of approval, purple roof. Okay.
28.
I got a couple of more questions.
Sure.
Keep your motion on the table.
Any second, somebody second?
No, not yet.
No.
Second, then discuss.
No, we,
Second it, and then I'll discuss.
I'll second the approval of the.
discussion? There we go.
There we go. Is this only, who's the administrator of it? Of the pavilion?
Parks and Recreation. How would you rent it? Parks and Recreation and Senior Center.
So the Board of Ed has nothing to do with it?
No. Parks and Recreation is on the property with Board of Education.
Right, I noticed the entranceway into the building, one side's painted one color, one another, because the Board of Ed has this side and Park and Rec has...
That is not why. The reason it's two different colors right now is they completed the roofing project and they haven't completed, there wasn't additional funding, but there is, to repaint everything so that it matches. You're talking about the blue pergola or portico right over the main entrance? Yeah, that there are plans to paint that. There's also plans to change the color of the awning going up the stairs. It's just in the process of permanent project. There are a few additional things that need to be done to the building.
So Park and Rec will administer the pavilion and the pickleball?
We already do the pickleball, yes, yes. Yep.
Busy over there, very busy.
Yeah, pickleball has stayed very busy, yes. And that's part of the benefit of this pavilion is, you know, we've already hosted a tournament with over 280 participants and had to have a temporary structure put up. So this allows us to continue to host, I would say, nationwide size tournaments in town that bring people in and do a wonderful thing. And if you guys didn't notice, we didn't cause too much traffic, so we're doing pretty well.
But the question is, where are they going to stay?
Branford.
That's a loaded
They can go to Branford.
Yeah, right here, we could put them
I'm
in
just
here,
saying.
in this conference room, in cots.
Parking where we have 2 additional handicap spots right next to the handicap ramp on either end of the pavilion structure or the parking structure for the pickleball courts. What do you mean
We have
more
the
parking?
crosswalk to across the street.
Specifically, I remember during the elections, pickleball were doing their thing on the courts, and it was tough to find a parking space to go in and vote.
Mhm.
So obviously, the parking at that facility needs to be looked at. Yeah.
Park across the street, you got the crosswalk. Remember? You put the
Oh.
You didn't get the sidewalk.
Ron, these people are in shape. They're playing pickleball.
Yeah.
They can walk.
I can't.
We'll get you the tag, you can park right in front.
All right. So we have a motion, we have a second. Someone want to read the motion?
So there's no improvement to the facilities,
Oh, I'm sorry.
parking or anything, other than sidewalks, which make me happy.
Sidewalk, staircase, and like I said, there'll be the changes to the additional handicap spots for ADA compliance.
Yeah? No?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
We said there was going to be a steel building, but it looks like wood. Is it going to be encased in wood or just?
So the frame itself is steel, and then the roof decking underneath the roof is tongue groove roof decking, so it gives a very nice soft wood feel.
Okay.
But then on top of that, there's ice and water shield, and then the metal roof.
Okay. All right. I'm good. Thank you so much.
There's,
What?
it's already been approved, but
Oh.
there's appropriate grounding and all that.
Absolutely.
There's electric out there, and
There's electric for future use, but it's set up for future use, but there's no electric that's going to be available, just like our 2 other structures at Northford Park and North Promise Park. The reason we went with the metal roof, though, was it wasn't significantly more than the asphalt, but gives us a 50-year warranty and keeps the maintenance costs down for our maintenance team. We were looking at longevity. And maybe one day we'll have electricity out there, but not anytime soon.
but it is grounded.
Yes.
It would be grounded.
It's a steel building.
Yes, that's,
No. Zzz. You want to get a shock? You know, like, keep it going. A little shock to the system.
Then you can walk to your car.
Then you can walk to your car. You'll feel awesome. All right.
attention, I wouldn't have to walk in the car.
I'm sorry.
Kick on the elder.
Oh, that's all right. Sorry about that. Any other questions for the applicant?
Okay.
Done? Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. You want to read the motion?
I can read the motion.
Okay.
We move to approve planning and zoning application number 2024-28 site plan request under section 23, schedule A, use B1 buildings, uses and facilities of the town of North Branford for the construction of a 60 by 30 pre-engineered metal picnic pavilion for recreational use at 1332 Middletown Avenue, Assessor's Map 62-8, Lot 19, Zone R40, owner Town of North Branford, applicant Creative Reaction LLC, John Hollerback, as contained in submitted application document and shown on plan entitled Proposed Pavilion and Sidewalks, 1332 Middletown Avenue, North Branford, Connecticut, dated May 1, 2024, prepared by Nafis and Young Engineers Incorporated, with the following standard conditions: 1C, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, and special conditions done.
All right, we have a motion by Barry, second? That was you, Paul?
My motion, he seconded.
We had a second.
Oh, we had a second. Okay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Good luck with your pavilion.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
When do you think that
What's the
should be
finish date?
done?
What's the finish date?
So thank you very much for allowing me to speak. That's actually a question that I have for the commission, if I may ask. I'll answer your question, I guess after you answer mine. How long does the commission know how long it would take in order to obtain the permit?
Do we have the building plans?
Yeah, yes, the application's already been in.
Okay.
I think there was seven,
Approve it and it's good.
seven sets that were delivered.
I think you can apply for a zoning permit tomorrow and I'll approve it on Monday and you can start building on Tuesday.
That
works. We'll start building on Tuesday.
that would be fantastic. So we'll start building on Tuesday.
Assuming you get a building permit. I
Yes.
just said I'd get you the zoning permit.
We'll get the building permit and then we'll be building.
That's assuming your check clears.
That's true. So, so to answer, just to give you an idea on the timing of everything. So ballpark is a few weeks for the footings, and we'll need the footings to cure. Then we can erect the structure. Unfortunately, because of the timing, we'll have to wait until further into the spring in order to be able to pour the concrete slab. But the building itself, I would suspect by beginning of February, you'll see the erection of all the steel together.
Cool. Good.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is new business 6B, section 8-24 referral, North Branford 2025, 2029, 30 capital improvement program for our review. Basically, it's a budget for the entire town capital improvement program as a referral for us to review it and make comment to the town and ask them to give us more money because we need a raise, but that's not under line item. I gotta find that line item. Public Works, no, I don't think we're on there. Education, nope. I wish there was more explanation why we need to see this.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to make,
We're supposed to approve this, or is it a motion?
yeah, there's a motion to approve it.
I'm sure a lot of higher ups went through it with a fine tooth comb more than we.
Well, I mean, it is land use, right? Because they're paving, they're milling, they're reconstructing. Fixing the grounds at a school, resurfacing the track. I mean, it's a proposal for future budgeting and present day. Drainage, I don't see my street on here, so I think we're good. Unless you guys, your street on here?
I was
Put it on there.
I was done.
Oh, you're done, all right, so you're good.
We got the chipstone.
But it gives you an idea of what's coming up in the town as far as budgeting wise?
Yeah.
Budget, but not actual project, right?
Not yet, just proposals
Oh.
and budget. There's line items in there. HVAC at the Jerome Harris Gym, that's proposed for this next fiscal year. Paving of the parking lot, TVS, Jerome Harris.
I noticed that Park and Rec pavilion on the older property.
Yeah.
So now you have something in front of you that you can see what's happening in town. So you're informed and said, I didn't know.
I'm not sure.
Or proposals for there.
And it's a 5-year plan, so every year it gets rolled into what we actually did and what's a new priority.
I hate to go off on a tangent. That's a lot.
Squirrel.
Did the, only because I see the police tower, police radio tower, did the tower in Northford Center ever come online?
Yeah,
Oh, my phone service has been improved, huh?
it should have, yeah.
I'm just asking.
Okay. Any questions, comments regarding this? Last couple pages is more or less the budget.
Yep.
Outstanding principal and interest payments. Outstanding principal payments of $52 million by 2043-44. Okay. When you're ready, entertain a motion to approve the capital improvement plan. When you're ready.
I make a motion that Planning and Zoning Commission report favorably on the town council's Connecticut General Statute, Section 8-24 referral on the fiscal year 2024 and 2025 through 2029 and 2030 capital improvement plan.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Barry, second by Paul to approve the fiscal year referral for capital improvement projects. All in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. That ends that line item. Okay, last, another item on the agenda, other business. Two things I want to bring up. I received a letter from Victor Benny. I was wondering if you could share that with everybody.
This is a letter from Victor Benny addressed to Robert Nowak, Chairman. Mr. Nowak, I wanted to take this opportunity to formally thank you, the members of North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission, and the land use staff for cooperation and dedication that contributed to the success of various projects that we worked on together. I would especially like to note the support that you and the commission members provided during the time that I served as your department liaison during the 6 months in 2023 when the town planner position remained vacant. Our success would not have been possible without the administrative support provided by the land use department, which kept everything running smoothly and ensured a productive work environment. I'm truly grateful for all the experiences during my time in North Branford. I will continue to cherish the memories, and I'll be forever grateful for your guidance and support in my role as town engineer. Sincerely yours, Victor A. Benny, PE.
Thank you, Barry. So I guess we do good work at some point in time.
That's right.
Thanks.
Nice to hear.
There you go. Last item on for other business before I get on to the town planners report. Every year,
Every other year.
thank you. Every other year, we're supposed to be trained in land use. Last 2 years ago, we had an online class, and it's coming up in March. So a little pamphlet put on by the Connecticut Bar Association. You get a little book. Tells you
Get
all
a
the
big book.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little book.
It's a big book.
Inch and a half. Explains all the
10,000
legalities of
pages.
all the legalities of your position as a legislature in the land use of North Branford. It helps you understand when not to talk on emails, sending emails and texting and stuff like that. That gets you in trouble. So, Dave, could you send this out to everybody? Or
I will. It's Saturday, March
22nd, 9 to 4:30.
9 to 4:30. It's a Saturday. It's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom, right? And
It's usually a nice spring day. You can sit outside and watch it on your computer.
Hopefully it's a blizzard.
But it would take care of the training requirement.
Perfect.
And it's also it's a fantastic event.
In addition to that, it comes out of our salary. So Dave's going to be so kind enough to pay for all of us, or the town of North Branford will take out of our budget to fund us to go.
Maybe we can, if you sign up, we'll send you lunch.
It'll be a virtual lunch. Virtual lunch. A picture of a sandwich and stuff.
A virtual lunch, I like that.
We're very budget conscious. We want to keep the taxes down in town, so that's what happens. So anyway, Dave, you got anything for us for next
Hopefully, we'll have the application for the athletic storage equipment by the football field. That's hopefully getting through wetlands next week.
Wetlands, okay.
There is a subdivision application that we should hear at our next meeting that is half in Branford and half in North Branford.
We did make mention at the top of the hill.
Snake Hill, right?
The entranceway is in North Branford, the houses are in Branford.
Okay.
So we need to make sure that the slope of the driveway is appropriate and the easements are the right size.
Don't have a map. I went up there. It was kind of strange to find where they were talking.
Yeah.
At the end where it says don't go anymore,
I'm not exactly sure where it is.
strange.
Sounds like a field meeting.
Yeah.
Site walk?
Field
Site
meeting.
walk.
Well, I think I can get some near map photos.
It looked like there was a couple houses, but, all set off by themselves, and at the end, there was like a long driveway, maybe that's where they're putting it.
Okay.
Odd.
I haven't really looked at it that carefully. We've sent it to Scrog to get their opinions since it's within 500 feet of not only 500 feet, it crosses the property line.
Anything else, Dave?
No.
I got one more thing.
Yes, sir.
It was brought up about not finding what's included in B1 online.
Online.
And I wanted to find out for myself. So I Googled something called what's included in B1 zoning in the town of North Branford, Connecticut. And the thing just jumped right out. So, it's there.
Google.
I mean, there was no magic, no...
And you did that?
I did that myself.
Nice.
Even though I have 36 years of IT experience, I was able to do it, and I didn't use an Apple.
All right. You didn't use an apple. You had it for lunch.
Yes.
So with that being said, I want to say to the commission watching, and Dave, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This is our last meeting for 2024. I think it was very successful in some ways, maybe not for others, but at any event, have a great holiday, everyone.
You too, as well.
Thank you. And this is item number 9.
I motion we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's over. That was very,
Yeah, I'll
yeah, second, close enough.